Hey everybody, how we doing today? So in the next installment of the 700 series, we're going to be working on the overheating issue. So this bad boy has been overheating. I'm going to go through a couple of the common issues for overheat, and we'll go over why this one is. So number one thing always to check is the condition of your radiator. Look through here, take your screen off, make sure you're not full of mud. Okay, that's number one. Mud will plug up the radiator and cause these to overheat. Okay, the next thing I always check is fan operation. And very common on these Sportsmans is this thermal switch for the fan control goes bad. Now, one of the ways to test it is you just put a jumper between these two ports, and if the fan works, it will turn the fan on. So if it's getting hot and your fan's not kicking on automatically, but you jumper these two, it's a thermal switch. Now, if you jumper these two, okay, and the fan doesn't come on, well, it's a bad fan. So this one I've already replaced. It did have a bad thermal switch and it did have a bad fan. So those have both been replaced. However, it's still overheating. So the next thing you want to check is, one, your radiator cap. Okay, a faulty radiator cap will cause it to overheat because actually by pressurizing the system, it raises the boiling point. So a bad cap will allow it to overheat. You can check these caps with cap checkers. Okay, so this cap checked out good. The next thing is pressure checking your system. Put a pressure gauge on it, fill it up with coolant, and make sure that it holds pressure. If it's not holding pressure, then you could possibly have a leak somewhere. You gotta look all over the place, see if you got any coolant leaking out. Okay, if you don't have any coolant leaking out, then you very well could have a bad head gasket. So if your pressure check comes out fine, you're good. If it doesn't, look for leaks or a possible bad head gasket. Now this one, the pressure check came out good. It held 15, 16 pounds for an hour, no issues. So the next thing I do is you do a leak down test on the motor, and that's going to confirm anything inside the engine, especially if it's got a bad head gasket. But usually a bad head gasket, you'll be blowing white smoke. So leak down test came out perfect on this machine. Well, the culprit is down here, the water pump. The water pump impeller is made of plastic. Here's a new one. And the shaft is actually flat on both sides. And what happens is over time, this ends up melting and then the shaft doesn't grab the impeller. So, and all the shaft is your oil pump shaft. So the shaft is spinning, but the impeller is just sitting there and not spinning. So these are really, really common. There's your part number. So we're going to be replacing the water pump impeller. It's not leaking. The water pump seal is good. So we're going to get into this, how to change that impeller out and get this thing cooling again. Okay, so once you get your footwell off, you gain pretty much all access to the side of your engine. And since Polaris didn't really put any drains in these things, you just end up having to pull the hose off and just making a really big mess. Hopefully I'll catch it all. Let's see. So I'm just gonna loosen up my clamp here. And we're gonna slide it up. And then I'm just gonna take my drain pan as close to the frame as I can and let her rip. It's gonna make a mess, but whatever. Yep, there we go. There we go. Yep. Fun, fun, fun. Okay. Cool. Actually, I didn't get much on the floor, just a little bit, so we're good. Okay, next, using a 10mm socket, you want to take your water pump housing bolts off. right, so we're gonna get all these bad boys off. And of course, once this cover comes off, it's gonna leak more. But it's okay. Yeah. Alright. And they are different lengths. So if you want it, make sure you lay them out. But it's pretty self-explanatory how they go back in. Okay. Take your cover bracket off. And there's your plastic cover. And now, there you go. All right, so we're gonna wait for this to catch back up so we can continue onward with the process here. So, okay, so here we have it. I had to cut the clip quick because I had a phone call, but we're back. So pretty much we got the cover off, and here's your impeller. And yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that. That's supposed to be solid. So let's get this apart, and just a 13mm socket. Okay, take the nut off. There's gonna be a little washer. Pull your washer off. Okay, and then kind of just wiggle this. Sometimes they get a little stuck, but just there it goes. And there it is. And yeah, it's pretty smooth in there. It's pretty smooth. Here's the new one. And you can see it's flat. You see this one's pretty much just rounded over. And oh, yep, she was getting hot and melting. Wow, that's a pretty good one. There is a seal in here that you can pop out. Just using my Polaris. Let's see if the seal's good. Let's kind of get in here. There we go. All right. It looks pretty good. Not too bad. You can replace these if you need to. It's just the seal for back here, the back side. So, good. Not good. Yep, not good. Oh, look at it. It just melted at it. Okay, so next step is here's your water pump seal, which is a good one. So we're going to put this guy on. Which way? I always forget which way these go. Yeah, it goes this way. Okay, so this just basically goes on the shaft like that. See, that's going to push against that seal. And then you're just going to take, and it should spring in like that. Okay. And put your washer back on. Put your nut on. And tighten it up. And you don't have to kill it. You know, I do about that. And then I just switch it over to a ratchet or a wrench. And just make sure kind of hold it. And that should be it. That's it. Pretty straightforward. So now I'm going to get this seal off. And you're going to want to clean up the block here. So using a razor blade or something, clean all this up. And then same thing with your cover. Clean your cover up. Put a new seal in. I also put RTV just to help. And get this back on. So I'm going to get everything cleaned up and we'll get this button back up. Okay, so we've got the surface here all cleaned up. And all I used, just a razor blade. And you just clean it up so it's nice and smooth. And then we installed our new O-ring in the cover. And then I take RTV because these covers tend to warp a little bit. So put a little RTV of your choice on it. And if you hear any background noise, just my daughter on her tricycle. So now, set the cover in place, like so. Get your retaining bracket and put that in place like so. And then we're gonna start putting our bolts back in. So you got shorts and longs. The long ones, there's only 2 of them, and I believe you'll know because there it goes. See how it dropped in? And this is a short here. See, it doesn't drop in. So you just, there's your 2 longs. So this one and this one are the long. All the rest are the shorts. Okay. I'm gonna put these on. Just like so. And grab our gun. We're not gonna kill it, but okay. So I just use this to kind of drive them in. Kind of like a tire, work around it. Oh, we're missing one. There it is. You know, just keep working your way around. Okay, just like that. And then you can torque them to spec according to the repair manual. Or I kind of know because I've done so many of these, I know right around where it should be. So same thing, you just tighten these up. Again, in a crisscross pattern. That way it helps keep pressure all the way around. And we're almost there, guys. Almost there. You just go through. Oh, that one was still loose. Tighten that one. There you go. Perfect. All right. Now, put your cooling hose back on. Tighten your clamp down. And then let's go over the fill and bleed procedure. Okay, so now with your 50-50 mix, I use the extended life. Works pretty good. Just go ahead and fill her back up. Now this is going to take a bit. Now on the newer machines they have bleeders. The 500s have bleeders, but these original 700s don't have bleeders, so they take a little bit. But once they're done, they're done. So we're just going to fill this right up. Chug, chug, chug. She's thirsty. There we go. Okay. Let it settle, and everybody gets the idea. Just gonna keep filling it up, and then pretty much you're gonna start it, let it run for a bit, shut it down, check it, start it, run it down. Just keep going back and forth, checking. A lot of the 500s over here on the thermostat housing, they have a bleeder, but not on these. So it just takes a bit, but you can get it worked through so you don't have any more air bubbles, and you'll be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, and we'll go to the next. And there we have it, everybody. She's flowing good, everything's working, she's staying nice and cool now, so definitely was that water pump impeller. So hope you all got some good information on this. I'm gonna get this thing put back together. I'm gonna go take it for a ride. See y'all on the next one.